kind of built out of frustration, man. I was just like, been fortunate to be a working actor, but wasn't really doing the things I wanted to do. And also, I just, I wanted to see a particular type of movie, see a guy go through a breakup and all that stuff. So we did this kind of conceptual short that Daniel was involved in, Trevor, the cinematographer, Nicholas Fiello is here as well too, the production designer and the producers as well. So we put this short together, and then we said, well, let's see how this goes, and if so, we're going to tackle the feature, and the short went well, and then we just started developing the feature. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I always say it's built out of frustration, man. Because, I got out of a relationship, and though that wasn't the thing that prompted it, it was just, I felt like just talking to a lot of people, and it was a relatable thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a passion project.
Yes, it was, for sure. So, yeah.
I was talking to my coworkers because they were asking about the movie, and I was saying, honestly, this is a movie that I feel like I kind of miss, that I don't see too much. I mean, how would you even classify the movie? It's not a rom-com per se.
No, it's something you'd see out of the 70s, man. It's a journeyman's movie. It's a character study. It's all about story.
Yeah.
I'm a big Cassavetes fan and
very
stuff like that.
The dialogue driven.
Yeah, but it's just, it's a slice of life, and when I think of a slice of life, like that to me is manic. It's funny, it's sad, there's emotions, because that's what it is, and I think that was what we tried to capture when we were writing it as well. It was just like, because that's what life is. You could have a shitty day, and all of a sudden the slightest thing will make you laugh. It just does this whole thing, and if you lean one way, I feel like, well, then it becomes too much of a drama, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you try to be funny, then it becomes kind of a goofball comedy. It's like, how do you kind of get that, roller coaster ride of emotion? Yeah, and as far as for the performances as well too, it's like, just I was telling these guys, just it's got to be natural. Relatable. Mm-hmm. So people, the thing I love hearing is when people are like, oh, I know these people, these characters are familiar, and I think it's just kind of keeping it just raw,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I guess I'll throw it to Daniel. Have you guys known each other before this, or how did you get involved with the project as well?
Greg and I have known each other for about 20 years, probably. We met around this area.
Yeah.
When I was going to Chapman, and shout out to Chapman football and my family, and some of my teammates are here, so thank you for being here. Greg and I were outcasts in some sort of way. I tried to get into the film school. It didn't happen. To reject an 18-year-old trying to get into a school seems crazy to me, but it happened. Greg was out here, came out with a buddy to go to a school, and we kind of hung around the film school. Chapman has a great film school, but we weren't actually involved. But we were peripherally involved.
Mm-hmm. Adjacent.
And we met around that time, and we bonded over music and storytelling and films that we loved together. And it was that kind of outsiderness that really brought us together. We weren't actually part of it. Nothing we did would be featured or a part of the school proper, but we were passionate about it, and we understood that immediately about each other. And so the first thing we ever wanted to do was like, wow, we wanted to make movies. Mm-hmm. And so we stayed in touch, we followed each other, we rooted for each other, and luckily enough, one day Greg picked up the phone and said, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this short. Are you around? And I said yes. It was a couple years ago, and here we are.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The writing is really, really good. It's definitely a movie that I feel like you said, kind of the 70s kind of vibe of just like watching these characters interact with each other. I've always said personally that life is really interesting, that to me life is a series of moments.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to appreciate the moments that you have. And I love how this film presents all these moments, whether it's harsh, it's dramatic, it's fun, it's adventurous, it's romantic. It incorporates it all, and you really go on this ride, which is why cinema is so beautiful, because we as the audience get to see Nick's journey and what he's going through more than anyone else does in the movie.
Yeah, and that's interesting, man. It's the thing I kind of love about it. We screened it festivals, and we just started this theatrical roadshow that we're doing, and it's like the thing that makes me like just love it is that I find that sometimes people don't know when to laugh or if they like, you know what I mean? So, and I think that's kind of cool. It's one of those movies where you can, every time I feel like you watch it, it's what you're bringing into it. You know, if you're having a good day, it might lean more into the lightheartedness of it all. If you're having a bad day, it might drag you into like, oh man, I feel like this. So I think that's kind of cool and it's different, but it's story, man. It's story. It's not plot heavy like that. It's just like, let's just relax and enter this world.
It's a pretty simple premise.
Yeah. But that's how it used to be. It wasn't, you know, you don't have to have a big explosion all the time, you know what I mean, or some dramatic event. It's just like there's something beautiful about just sitting and, you know, and just, you know, being overwhelmed and just letting go and giving into a film, you know.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to these
Yeah,
guys
get in
here. Fernando plays Gabby. Shout out to Gabby. And Gino plays Mario. Both amazing in the movie. I guess I'll first ask, what brought you aboard the project, and what did you bring to these characters? Fernando, you want to start?
Okay, I'll go first. Really, it was Greg had a friendship with my agent, and he hit me up and said, I have this project, and sent me the script, and I just read it and loved it instantly. You know, I think every time we read so much stuff, we read so much crap, you know, and every once in a while something like this comes around and you just go, oh my God, I can breathe, you know, and it's just such, it was truly, I wouldn't even say a breath of fresh air. It was like a deep breath, gasp of an air for breath, you know.
It's genuine.
It was genuine, and it was just so wonderful to read, to read the trajectory of this character and just trying to navigate life, you know, and so very specifically a life that felt so mine, you know. It felt so mine instantly. It was, you know, Greg and Daniel did this beautiful thing where they just put their finger right on the pulse of the heart of what it's like to live in Los Angeles and be an artist and go through a breakup and try to find it again, and the infinite grasping of that, and also the loneliness of that, the stillness of that, and the fucking hilarity of that as well, you know. So it was all there, and Greg called me, and we were just on the phone for like an hour forever.
We talked on the phone for like 45 minutes, and then just about life.
Not even about the movie.
Because we cast it all ourselves. So it's like with Fern is like with her agent, I was just like, you know, going through her agent's list, and I was just scrolling, and I saw Fern's picture, and I was like, that's very interesting. And I said, send me the reel. So I watched her reel. I don't know if I ever told you this.
What's on my reel?
I was watching your reel, and I was just like, okay. But then there was a lot of drama in there, which, you know what I mean. And I remember watching it and be like, I just want to see her smile. Like, I want to see it. And you literally at the end of your reel, there's a scene that you have where you're not even saying anything. You just smile, and you just lit it up. And I called Jason. I was like, you got to hook me up with her. We got to talk. And so we talked on the phone for 45 minutes. And at the end, I was like, so you want to do this? Because it's funny because I see the Twin Peaks thing is on there, and I had worked with David, and David does not audition. He talks to you before. Right. It's just communication. It's talking. It's like, can I work with this person? Does this person have a soul? That's it. And she clicked right away with that. We just talked about life, and then I didn't even know that they were friends. They had known each other.
What?
So Gino we had already said that he's going to do it, and then I had no idea that they were friends.
Yeah, just through talking, we figured it out, and Gino's like family member to me.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Actually, you know, it just was one of those things where my heart exploded when I read it, and it extra exploded when we got to talk about life and people and stories, and then when I knew that Gino was already on it, I was like, okay, this is just, you know, that's the feeling of like, oh right. This is why I wanted to do this stuff. There's all of those life affirming things when you go, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. You're supposed to do this with your friends. It's supposed to put this flutter in your heart. And, it's I'm very grateful to be in this industry and working for over 20 years. And I'm very proud of a lot of things that I've done. But this may be one of my very favorite things that I'm a part of. And it's so hard to like the things that you're a part of, and I just love this film. I love it for what it is outside of being any part of it. And I love it because of the experience that I had making it.
That's so beautiful.
And because of these kinds of experiences, to really, when I watched it this time, every time I watch it, it hits me in a different way, and this time I watched it and I was like, truly, to reiterate what PJ Byrne, who blows me away every single time I see PJ on screen. He's unbelievable.
Insane in this movie.
He's a beast.
And
He's great.
And he says it. He says 100% of life is showing up, and I really think that 100% of life is showing up. So thank you, every single person that's here, for showing up. You are here, and we get to share this, like each one of us together, and no one else. And that's the special part about showing up to cinema. And Greg made a movie that reflects that and feels that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clap for that.
It's beautiful. My
beautiful.
mom. Did you talk to my mom? It was a beautiful.
Jeez.
I'll call it.
I was about to.
I gotta pay you now. Shit.
All right, Gino, you gotta top that.
Hey, good luck, buddy. Have fun with that one.
Oh God. Greg and I were working on a show together, and we would just hang out. I don't think we shared any scenes.
We were on Mayans MC together, but we didn't have any scenes together.
Right?
We were. It was like we were visiting Elgin on like one of the last days.
Right, yeah.
And we were having a conversation outside, and we had written, it was all written, but we weren't sure who was going to play this part yet. And as Gino and I are talking, shit you not, a cat runs in between us. And I was like, Jesus, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, it came out of nowhere. And I was like, yeah, cats creep me out. It's a weird thing. And he's like, I kind of like him. And I was just like, and listening. And then you're telling me the story of a cat. And as he's talking, I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy.
I'm not a cat guy. I'm really not. I do love him. But and that same week, he was screening the short film version of Situations at Brain Dead.
At Brain Dead. We screened it at
Brain Dead. He's like, yo, if you're off, like, pull up. So I did. I went. I saw it. And I was like, I think it was a scene with Fiona that I saw. I was like,
correct.
Whoa, fuck, that was great.
Yeah.
And then
It's a great scene.
It's great. It's beautiful. I love it. And then at the end of the screening, I was like, hey, yo, like, if you do something else, like, please call me. And he did. Like, a year later, he's like, yo, I got something for you. I was like, all right.
Dang.
Whatever it was. And then what was interesting about that time, I was thinking about my Uncle Mario a lot, who passed away many years before this, but he was just like, I don't know, I was just thinking about him a lot. He's one of the reasons why I was able to become an artist. Like, he gave me my first guitar. I played in a band, became an actor, da-da-da. And Greg asked me, he's like, what do you think of the character's name? I was like, oh, could we name him after my Uncle Mario? He's really special to me, and he gave me that, so thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was beautiful. It's you know, the thing with G, too, is just like, I just love seeing, you know, we've talked about this before, we've all talked about it before, it's like the typecast thing, man. You know what I mean? It's a real thing, and, you know, you get kind of stuck in this box, and yes, you're grateful you're working, but it's like we're artists and this shit we want to do and try and say, and it's tough. And with Gino, it's like I just love seeing him just be natural, you know. And same with Fern as well too. And it's like that's what I really want. That's why I want to be a part of this thing, just to see them live in a space and just, you know, just that's it. Not worry about any just charactery stuff. Just be a human being, like bring your own stuff to it, you know, bring your uncle to it, bring whoever you know, bring that soul to it, for sure.
You made it so everyone could have a personal part of it, like yourself.
Everybody, man, everybody in that movie, like everybody in there is just, they're just natural, they just kind of bring their own thing. And I felt like we were all like just trying to have a voice, whether it was through the writing, through the acting, through the producing, through the production design, through the cinematography, like everything was just like, we called it family style filmmaking because there was, you know what I mean? I felt like I wanted everyone to just flex and show their stuff as well too. It's like, yeah, we'll direct and all that, but you know, it's bring your own thing to it. This is an opportunity to show your stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't matter what department you're in. You know what I mean? If that's what, we had one day where Trevor was here, our cinematographer, that opening scene was like one of the last things we shot, right?
At the restaurant?
Yeah, and we had our shots we wanted to do, and I got on set, and the camera was opposite of where we talked about we were going to start, and with no emotion, I was just like, why are we putting it here? And he had a whole explanation for it, and I said, that's right, good. So that's the thing we had. It's just like, I trust you. I trust your eye. You're here because you're good at what you do, and I believe in you. And if you think this is the right thing to do, then we're going to do it. And that was the same thing with the performances and everything, too. If this is what you want, that I love that line. One of my favorite lines is when we're outside that last shot, and I said, I'd like to see you again. And she like jumps on me. I'd like to see you again. It's almost like it was like Meisner stuff to me. It's what we used to do in Meisner class, the repetition. And I didn't want to break the take in the edit because just that. Same thing when we're in the park. The dog runs in between us.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not cutting this thing. When we shot a little close up, a little closer, but I was just like, this is the universe is telling you to keep this stuff, and we lean into these shots, but it was all just trusting everyone as well too. I'm standing on their shoulders, man.
It's very punk rock.
It was punk rock.
Yeah.
We made it, and we made this thing for not a lot of money at all. We started shooting with $90,000.
And you shot, it looks like it's entirely on location, pretty much.
It is.
How did you get away with all those locations? I was like, there's Jumbo's Clown Room. There's bar in Burbank.
You pervert. Shame on you. No, it's we lived right. Nicholas and myself live right by Condor. We live in that kind of heat of Silver Lake, so we knew these places. So we could go in and scout, and when we're doing our scene at Condor, it's like I've sat on that corner a million times. Love
that shot.
I'd go, it's just like lean into it. But we had the opportunity to kind of to discover all this stuff too. But yeah, we literally called. It's a lot of friends in this thing. We pulled a lot of favors. I feel like, but. They just, how we do it, the community is what helped made this thing as well.
One of my favorite quotes in the movie is, you meet the real motherfuckers on the way out the door.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Glenn Stowers told me that as a family friend. He was, I went through a breakup, and we met. I was back east. I'm from outside of Boston, and we met, and he had heard that I had gone through this breakup, and he said, let me buy you a beer, kid. So I said, okay. And he said, tell me about the breakup. So I'm giving him like a 2-month leave. And he said, no, I want to know about the night you guys broke up. So all right. And I just told him, how it all went down. And it wasn't great, and he said, I'm going to tell you what my dad told me. He says, you meet the real motherfucker on the way out the door. He's like, that person, that's who you saw that night. You know what I mean? That's he's like, it's a blessing, and a lot of the quotes in there that we have is, the wrong person at the right time. That's a thing of, a lot of friends, I know that as well too. It's like, you're ready to be with somebody, and you can't just choose anybody, and sometimes you do just because you're lonely. Yeah. There is that loneliness throughout the film. You have this guy who's dedicated his life to his work and his craft. That's what we've done. Yeah. All of us have done that. You know what I mean? And when you do that, I think it's beautiful because you work very hard, but also you isolate a little bit. Yeah. So trying to find that balance is tricky. Yeah. Yeah.
I have so many
and if you guys have questions, you can yell at us.
We gotta start wrapping up because we gotta get Twin Peaks.
Whatever.
But I want to say that I want to ask, was it always did you always have it where we were gonna wait to see Gabby? Because we hear about her throughout, and I'm like, when are we gonna meet Gabby?
Yeah. Well, that whole third act, man, is like. Even visually, it changes. After that porch scene, or starting at the porch scene.
I love the scene in the mirror too, when you're like, Gabby.
That's very me. I do that. But that from that porch scene, that bungalow scene to the end of the movie, it's even visually we change it all. It starts, the camera starts to loosen up a little bit, and you start to feel a little bit different because we wanted. What does it feel like to that when you get that closure with somebody? So we want to have that, but yeah, with the Gabby characters, we wanted to build it up, and just make it feel like all right, you blew this person off.
Yeah.
And you gotta pay the piper, so to speak. And what is that like? Like I love how we don't see her face until she turns. That's the first time he's seeing the face, and we're seeing it as the audience.
And he's like, "Oh my God, she's beautiful."
He's just like it's the same effect, and all these kind of little things we want it to feel real and raw. As opposed to set it up. We'll set it up, but visually not set. Just wait until we get to the moment. Because that's what makes it feel like a slice of life. We're going through these things, with Nick, and I think that's the kind of the cool thing,
That's why I think the movie really worked for me, and I thought it was really special. Was like, yeah, we're on this journey with him.
Yeah.
We're seeing all the elements of him, like at the end when he says goodbye to his ex. That was like so real when he says, "I don't want to be your friend."
That's another one, man. It's like I've been on that porch many times. And I've had that conversation. And this is the beauty of writing, is that I've walked away from those moments being like, yeah, of course, we'll be friends. And I get in the car and I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. You know what I mean? And the beauty of writing is you have an opportunity to create that moment. I've always wanted to be like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be I don't want to talk to you. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be your friend. But majority of the time, I've never had the guts to say that. I've just, I've been like, yeah.
The power of art.
It's the power of art. That's the beauty of the pen. You can dream, man. It's beautiful.
I think I gotta start wrapping up because we gotta get ready for Twin Peaks. Is there anything else that you both like to say or you all like to say about the project, or what it means to you? Like anything else you'd like to tell the audience?
Yeah, I'll just double down on what Greg said about frustration, and that's the beauty of independent cinema is you get to showcase what you really want to. And, we all work various jobs, and that's great, and I'm lucky and I'm happy for the opportunities to do that. But when you get to do this, you get to say the things you want, you get to meet awesome people that you're going to follow and be hopefully friends with for as long as you possibly can. And like Greg said, built out of frustration. We've all been doing this for so long. It's a lifelong pursuit. Like this is what our lives are. And Trevor's in the audience, and I think he's the greatest person I've ever met. And I get to watch him put this to screen. And Nicholas, who I got to meet through Greg, production designer. And so you get to meet so many talented people who are on this same path that you're on, and it's actualizing, and it's kind of it just reminds you just stick with it and it's okay, and you get to meet these guys, and you're fans of people that you're working with all of a sudden, and like that's a crazy feeling, and you don't know how to reckon with it exactly, but you're happy you did it. So that's where I'll leave that. It's just it's a beautiful thing that we get to do this, and I hope that we're all going to be happy with it. When you work on things, you want to be able to look at it 10 years, 20 years later and be like, I'm happy I did that. I think this is something that we will feel that way. So that makes me happy.
I feel that way right now.
Gino, any words?
I just want to thank you guys for being here. If you guys could just continue going to the movies, go see movies in theaters, support cinema, support your local theater. Support cool films like this. This was made on just bare bones. So thank you guys so much for being here. It means a lot.
Hell yeah. Where can we? You're touring this movie around. Right?
Yeah, we just literally we're doing Gardena Cinema next, and then we're going to Brain Dead.
Nice.
Back to Brain Dead, and then we're going to San Francisco. More on I think San Diego, Palm Springs. We're talking about that one too. That festival theater out there, and then we hit. We're going to do the West Coast basically until September, just doing these. And then we hit Toronto at the review, I believe. And then we start Boston and New York. And, I mean, it's a tour. And then we're going to do physical media. We're going to do DVDs. We're going to wait on streaming because, these films get lost in streaming sometimes. As much as we want to open it up, this is it's much more important, in connecting and you get to talk. And you have a question. I'm going to just stop myself. Go for it. I love that question, and I really hope it does, because we shot this in 2024, and it was not a hot thing to shoot in LA. It's just starting to kind of get back. I don't know-ish. I think it's, I don't feel it as much as I used to. I think that's the hardest thing to cope with. We need to shoot in LA. We need to shoot on location. I think everyone's kind of afraid. The permit thing is out of control. You know, I really hope that changes. But it's Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Why should not? We should be the busiest city to be. We shouldn't be leaving. Production should not be leaving like they do. You know, I was just in Ireland shooting a TV show that takes place in North Carolina. Like, what are we doing here, guys? You know what I mean? So it's just like it's
That's wild.
It's crazy, because I used to love being on location and being wherever. You know, New Orleans was a thing, and we all worked there, or whatever. But LA is like, there's so much beauty in LA. You know, you're showing Twin Peaks, right? Lynch who was a master of light as well too, and who loved Los Angeles. Like, the things you can capture, the sunsets, the palm trees, the mom and pop shops, the streets, the dirtiness of it, the beauty of it. There's so much to shoot. I'm getting fired up, because like I want people to shoot there. Why are we running away and people leaving their families for 3 months to go shoot a gig in Atlanta or whatever the heck it is? We have so many talented people there, from makeup to hair to whatever. Every department is there. Everything that you want is there. Why are we running away from it? Just because of the dollar? At that point, I'm like, forget just shoot. Just shoot. Get your friends, you know what I mean, and do your thing and shoot. Because you know, it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is for permission. So I just think just go for it, man. But yeah, I want to see that. I want to see those numbers go up. It's extremely important. You know, and it's a business in a city that we all, you know, it doesn't matter if you move there to work in a restaurant or whatever it is, we're all kind of related and in that world. You know, so we should be shooting there a lot. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's a great way to end it. Support this movie. Support Greg. Keep making more movies.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, this is all buzz. It's all word of the street. You know what I mean? You know, we have the Instagrams and go in the letterbox and all that stuff, and you know, a little goes a long way. And I really thank you guys for coming out. It means the world to us. And yeah, I love you guys.
All right.
Sweet.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Give it up for them, everybody. Situations. Go check it out.